Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and this is our weekly TV news show. And yeah, Connor's back, so after just over a week of absence. Anyway, we talk about TV news, renewals, cancellations, pilot orders, series orders, castings, some such, I don't know, whatever else comes out of the TV newscape. But yes, so this is what we're going to do. So without further ado, we'll dive in. We got a renewal for one of the Apple shows already.
That didn't take long.
Which is notable, because it's obviously these aren't launching until this coming Friday. That's obviously something that we'll be looking at. What order we cover them in, what we cover, how many we cover, is kind of open for debate of how much time we have over the weekend.
Yeah, we really haven't thought about it yet.
Especially since they're all launching with 3 episodes each, which is going to make it wonderfully fun. But the one that's been renewed already is the one that I'm looking forward to most, because For All Mankind, the Ronald D. Moore one, the sci-fi one, which is premiering on Friday, has been renewed for a second season. So if they're feeling confident about that, and I'm looking forward to it, these are things that I like lining up.
Yeah, and that's likely the priority one anyway.
I think for us it's our priority, just because I already like the creator. So
yeah.
It is worth mentioning, though, the morning show, the one with Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston, was already picked up for 2 seasons initially. So that does have a second season, but it wasn't renewed. So
yeah, okay.
Difference. But yeah, so the sad part is I know we have to at least watch one episode of C just to see how bad it is, because it looks terrible. But we'll see. No pun intended.
That was terrible.
Oh, I didn't mean that. It was just, C is a pretty common word, alright? You use it a lot.
You do, but I felt like you could have made an effort not to then.
We shall discover.
Better.
Piss off. So, For All Mankind has been renewed for season 2 is the main point there. Speaking of things not being renewed, but being getting the back 9 orders, much to what we expected, Batwoman is a 22 episode season. It's got a back 9, as is Nancy Drew, which has also got a back 9. So both of those are going to be full 22 episode seasons on the CW. That does not mean, of course, that the ones that don't get back 9s are going to be cancelled. With CW, it's actually quite possible they'll just keep bringing them back as 13 episode seasons, as they've done with other things. Sometimes they'll maybe bump them up to 16, as you know, we've seen this happen with them enough a few times.
It's not a death knell on the CW like it is on other places.
Oh yeah, if this was CBS, they'd be dead. That's it, they're dead.
Yeah.
Dead and buried. Speaking of dead and buried, Cloak and Dagger, the Marvel show, Freeform, has been cancelled after 2 seasons. Interestingly, the 3rd season of Runaways, which is about to air in December, I think, is having a crossover with Cloak and Dagger. So they're getting one last little hurrah in a different show. But
and that's Runaways last season as well, right?
Is it? I don't remember hearing that, but you might be right.
I might have just made that up. For some reason, it was in my head, but
I might have forgotten it. But I don't remember such news, so you might have made that up.
I might have done, yeah.
And then next up, we get a premiere date, along with a trailer actually, for one of HBO's next big shows. January 12th is the premiere date for The Outsider. This is a Stephen King based story, 10 episode series. And it's kind of a murder mystery where they arrest Jason Bateman as the murderer in a case, but there's actually video evidence of him being somewhere else, so there's kind of maybe a supernatural bent on whatever's going on. So
okay, I didn't see the trailer because you never told me.
It's because I never found it today. This is something I watched like a week and a half ago.
Okay.
So it looked okay for what it was. Ben Mendelsohn's in it as well, which is cool. He's pretty good typically. So this is coming in January. So yeah. But more importantly though,
starting to line up next year now.
More importantly though, it's coming from the co-creator and executive producer of The Night Of, Richard Price. So
okay.
So we have some talent behind the there as well.
That immediately made me at least a notch more interested.
Yeah, Bateman's directing the first 2 episodes as well, because obviously he likes doing that now, because he won an Emmy for directing some... What's that show he does on Netflix called?
Ozark.
There you go, that's the one. So that's January 12th, that's coming from HBO. Next, this is actually pretty big news, this next part, as Jeph Loeb is exiting as the head of Marvel TV. He is leaving as executive producer of all the different Marvel TV shows. And this comes right after, of course, and this is not specifically TV news, but Kevin Feige got promoted. He got a new job title in the last couple of weeks. He is now the creative chief officer of the entirety of Marvel. That includes the comics, that includes the TV, along with his current position already at the movies. So, yeah, Kevin Feige now has creative control over the comics and the TV stuff. And given that the TV stuff was always kind of button heads with the movies, it makes sense that very quickly all of that is going to be rectified to align with his vision. Now, luckily, Shield's already ending. They've already shot their final season. It's done.
We don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, and there's none other ones we care about, so it's fine.
This is why I thought maybe Runaways was cancelled, because I'm like, okay, Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah, possibly.
Shield's going. Runaways is kind of the only like odd one out left, and then it's all just okay. It's Disney Plus stuff now.
Yeah, maybe they've just not announced it yet, or maybe that'll get like a badge because it's so separate and doesn't care. Like, yeah, keep whatever.
Possible, yeah.
But everything else, Jeph Loeb is out. So, you know, he's been around for all the Marvel shows, Shield, all the Netflix stuff, and they all kind of like died a sad death. So it's not been a great legacy in that sense, but Agents of Shield's really good. So
yeah, but all the things that have had that problem, that like cloud over it, none of that I would blame him for, because it was kind of, it's often felt like, okay, from on high telling him, okay, no, things are done now. You can't use this anymore.
Which I imagine was probably made his job very frustrating.
I assume it did, yeah.
He probably didn't have the easiest time wrangling all this. It was probably exciting back at the start of the Netflix deal, but by the time they got to season 2s of everything, he was probably... I mean, he didn't really have a hair to pull out, but I mean, if he had hair to pull out, it'd probably be yanking it out by that point. So, yeah, that's what it is. It's it's this thing where at least the TV shows now feel more important, but and I mean, I do like that they're going with all these limited series, so it's not these big long form things.
It's weird that I feel like they are sacrificing a lot of this other stuff, because like, okay, the Disney Plus stuff, leave that under Feige, have it all connected, that makes sense. But like stuff like, I don't care about Runaways that much, or Cloak and Dagger. It feels weird. Those things are probably just not going to exist anymore. Anything like that, because it's all the one thing now. Whereas I like the fact that before, even if it wasn't for me, there was an option there. It was something different, some experimentation that other people could do.
I don't think it'll be that long before some of these things exist again under like the MCU like official banner.
Yeah, that's the problem though. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I like that. Okay, that there's all these different things, and I say this about the DC stuff as well. Like, hey, I love all the CW stuff, but I don't need Gotham to be connected to the CW stuff. It's fine that that's separate. People who enjoy that can enjoy that.
Yeah, but I think you just have to accept with Marvel now, everything's going to be together. Everything is going to be under one roof.
And I think that sucks for creative freedom.
Well, that's a debate for shared universes in general. Then that's not a new debate to have.
No, it's not. But this is what I'm saying is what's frustrating here is we had both. We had best of both worlds, where we had the other stuff and the shared universe stuff, and this is just kind of taking one of the side of that away.
It's hard to care that much from my perspective when I didn't really give a shit about any of these things that we're losing. Shield's the one thing I cared about, and that's got its ending. So
it's true, yeah.
I'm good. I'm good. And we'll see. So we'll see how those Disney Plus shows shake out. I'm curious about them. I mean, essentially they're going to be 6-hour movies, split into chapters, which is
probably
which I think is fine in the context of like, they don't have to like plan for years of stories. They don't have to keep dragging out things. It's like they can be a bit more focused, just be what they are. Are they going to feel dragged out because they're 6 hours long versus a 2-hour movie that a lot of these movies are?
I would hope that something like the Hawkeye one, given the run that it's based off of, feels a little bit more episodic than some of the others.
Yeah, very well might, yeah.
Given the structure of that comic, it lends very nicely to, hey, we can do actual episodes here rather than just be a 6-hour movie.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning that one could be longer. We just know the first couple, I think, are about 6 hours, which are probably going to be 6 1 hours, or maybe 8 40 minutes if that's the route they go.
Yeah, I think they said the same about the Star Wars Kenobi show. is going to be 6 hours as well.
The Mandalorian's longer though, right? That's like 10.
Mandalorian's longer. That's 10 or 13, I think, and it's been renewed for a second season. Presumably the same length. I'm not sure about the Rogue One show. I have no idea on that, but I just know the Kenobi one that came out just the other day. Ewan McGregor mentioned it.
The Rogue One, I expect to probably be like the Mandalorian, and the reason why I'm suspecting that is because I feel like they can do that. I feel like the reason why the Kenobi one's probably shorter is because they've got Ewan McGregor coming in for it, so
that's true. Yeah,
they're limiting it.
Yeah, in that interview, he said he's been sat on this for 4 years. So, yeah, I mean that was planned ahead.
Next up, you're looking forward to the live-action Cowboy Bebop show on Netflix?
I was.
Well, it's still happening. It's just going to be a little bit later because John Cho got a knee injury, and because of that, the shooting of the show is going to be delayed by 9 months.
This was on like day 2 as well, by the way, of production, because they literally just put up a little video going, "Hey, production started," and then this was like 2 or 3 days later.
Yeah, apparently it was a freak accident that happened on the last take of a routine and well-rehearsed scene almost 2 weeks ago. It requires surgery, for which Cho has been flown back to LA and extensive rehabilitation. The production shutdown is expected to last 7 to 9 months. The new filming schedule will be set once Cho's prognosis is clear. And I also wonder if, like, it's not just so much that he needs 9 months to get better. I wonder if it's a case if he gets better, but then he's scheduled for something else, so maybe they have to push it beyond something else that he's already locked in for.
It is possible,
which may not be the case. It may just be a case that he does need that much time.
I was going to say, with a knee injury and walking and then being able to at least pull off some of the stunts enough, be able to run on it, that might take that long.
Yeah, so this is a 10-episode series, just to remind you. So given that they were supposed to be shooting it now, this was probably going to debut by the end of 2020. Now it'll probably be mid-2021 at your best. So
yeah,
there you go. So that is that unfortunate news. Next up, we got a couple of castings here for Foundation, which is Apple TV Plus's sci-fi drama based on Isaac Asimov's trilogy. Interesting casting here. Lee Pace has been cast in there, who many will probably know covered in blue from Guardians of the Galaxy. If I'm remembering that right. And then more interesting for me though is Legazov himself, Jared Harris, has been cast in Foundation. So let's hope this will be better than, not great, not terrible. 3.6 on the old dosimeter. Yeah, so I'm making Chernobyl references because that's all I could think of now. 10-episode series from David Goyer, Josh Friedman, and Skydance Television. So, yeah, Foundation is an epic saga, a band of exiles who discover that the only way to save the Galactic Empire from destruction is to defy it. So, there you go. So, yeah, I like Jared Harris a lot, so that makes this a bit more interesting. Hopefully, David Goyer is on a leash and he's not doing David Goyer things.
Based on source material.
I mean, that's maybe the other good news, is that there's a strict source material to adhere to. It's not like when he's doing like a comic movie where there's kind of wishy-washy, you take things from here or there. This is a book series, so presumably it's going to be a bit more locked in to...
It's a bit tighter. No, this is a well-regarded... This is just the story as it is, right? You've got, time to flesh things out maybe if you want, do a few bits here or there, but you've got a solid structure to go with, unlike with a comic.
Yeah, so next up, a bit of casting for the Punky Brewster sort of revival coming from Peacock.
Oh god, yes, I forgot about that.
The Universal streaming service. Another lead role has been cast in Freddie Prinze Jr. Let's be honest, this isn't that interesting. I just wanted to use this because he's married to Sarah Michelle Gellar, who played Buffy Summers on the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We don't care about this show. I just wanted to... No. I saw his name in a headline. I went, oh, easy peasy.
He also played Kanan in Star Wars Rebels, and he's very good.
Yes, very good, very good.
I'm just feeling if you're doing it, I'm doing it now too. Screw you.
Yes. I don't care. Next up, Michael Mann is going to direct the pilot of Tokyo Vice. This is the HBO Max series. It's going to star Ansel Elgort and Ken Watanabe. So that's basically the news. But Michael Mann, I like a lot. Admittedly, it's been a while since he's made a big, great thing, but. He is a good director. I like his style, and this maybe tells us something about the tone and style of what this show is going to be.
It does, and you know, so like, maybe it's been a while since he made something amazing. When you get a director in like this to do a TV pilot, it's not about okay, they're creating something fantastic. It's just them establishing the style and kind of setting the tone, usually. And I mean it's a pretty good style and tone to choose to go with.
So that's good news. HBO Max lining up stuff. Next up, we're actually on to the new shows now. So comedies first of all. NBC's put in development The Squad, a half-hour multi-camera esports comedy. Esports comedy, my esports have really become mainstream now. From the former Big Bang Theory writer-producer Anthony Del Baracolo and Johnny Galecki's Alcide Beva Productions. The Squad centers on a new group of friends and sometimes enemies who find companionship and common ground in their mutual love of competitive esports, and explores what it means to finally find your tribe after years of feeling like an outsider. That's actually, I mean, he's not going to be in it, but it does kind of sound like a weird Big Bang Theory-esque sort of spiritual successor.
In tone, yeah.
Yeah. That said, this is NBC, not CBS, and it's not Chuck Lorre, so
yeah,
it could actually be a decent little comedy, potentially.
NBC have a decent batting average when it comes to sitcoms, and not everything that they do is great, obviously, but I mean, they've got it down to an art better than pretty much anywhere else in terms of consistency.
I feel like 99% of the sitcoms I like come from NBC, and then there's 1% that come from like maybe ABC, and then CBS has nothing. Fox has had nothing since Married with Children. I'm probably upsetting someone when I say that. Someone's going to say, "Hey, what about this show?"
Yeah.
But most of them come from NBC. Well, actually, I mean, actually, credit where credit's due. Fox did have Brooklyn Nine-Nine until recently, but
now that's NBC too. So
yes, and it always felt like an NBC show. It did. It always did. So yeah, so that's the thing. Why not set a thing around a comedy around esports? I mean, good as anything else, I suppose.
Yeah, why not?
NBC's handed a pilot commitment to a multi-camera comedy starring stand-up comedian Jim Jeffries and writer-producer Susan Martin. So this is written by Jeffries and Martin. The Untitled sitcom stars Jeffries as a fictionalized version of himself, offering his unique take on modern life and the complexity of relationships. So it's another one of these comedians play a kind of rough version of themselves, you know. Sort of start. I mean, I don't know if it was started by, but Seinfeld's definitely the first like huge example. Yeah. So there you go.
I'm usually not a big fan of these types of comedies.
Same.
There's exceptions, but usually
I like Seinfeld a lot. But yes. Next up, CBS. Your favourite, has put in development The Three of Us, a multi-camera comedy from writer Frank Pines, who's worked on a bunch of different comedies apparently, but judging by that list. So The Three of Us follows adult siblings who are children of divorce and must circle the wagons when their sister's husband unexpectedly announces he wants to call it quits on their marriage. So sounds like a season 1 plot, that.
Yeah.
But yes. So they all
a lot in TV shows. It's like, oh, the children of divorce, like it has such a huge impact on people. I don't think it really does.
Yeah, I guess it depends how young.
Maybe.
Like, I feel like if it happens young enough, you don't really care because it's just what you've always known. If it happens when you're old enough, it's like, well, that's a little bit devastating, but it's not a big deal after a while. I think if it's right in the middle, where you're still a kid and you're used to having two parents together.
What sort of age ranges are you kind of describing here?
I don't know, like maybe 7 through, I don't know, 12 is maybe where it would hurt the most as a kid.
Okay.
But if you're a teenager, you're like, this is annoying because now I have to deal with two houses. Whatever, it's more annoying than it is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Although double presents potentially if your parents are well off enough, I suppose. that's always the
silver lining.
Yeah, the silver lining. Next up, CBS decided a pilot commitment to a single-camera comedy from former NBA star turned actor and businessman Rick Fox, from the team behind the CBS comedy series Me, Myself, and I. So the untitled comedy centers on a recently retired pro basketball star who attempts to reconnect with his estranged son by buying an esports franchise. 2 esports comedies!
Is this the next big trend? Is this the trend for the year? Esports?
Look at all these networks. We're young, we're hip, we know what the kids are doing. We're going to have comedies about esports.
Oh.
And CBS is the network with the demographic is like all the over 50s that are watching it. They don't have young people watching CBS.
This is great.
Jesus. All right, on to the dramas. But first, patreon.com/MailFuzzTV is something I must tell you about. If you want to support everything we do and get some bonus content and keep all the content coming, you can go to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, where you can support us for as little as $1 per month and feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. So go do that. Go do that. Go do it. So dramas. Roberto Aguirre Sacasa, who's the guy behind Chilling Adventures of Sabrina and Riverdale.
The guy whose name you can't pronounce.
Yes. I don't think that was too bad.
I mean, maybe not, but
Aguirre Sacasa? Yeah, Roberto Aguirre Sacasa. Yeah.
Yeah. You weren't that confident the first time.
So he's got 2 new drama projects, both in the gothic horror genre. Interesting. This is at HBO Max. HBO Max has ordered a pilot and an additional script for the Shelley Society. Plus 1 additional script. That's interesting. We got a pilot and we want the script for episode 2. That's an interesting.
That is.
Order.
It's like, okay, we want to see where you're going with it as well.
Yeah, a mashup of gothic horror and teen romance featuring young Mary Shelley. Oh, that's an interesting premise, actually.
Yeah.
With writers Tessa Lee Williams and James D. Will.
I will say this is it feels weird coming on the heels of the Dickinson one on Apple.
Sure.
Like, sure. It feels like, hey, we want some of that.
I think Mary Shelley's is slightly more interesting.
I'm not disputing that. I'm just, in terms of, okay, we'll get, some classical writer figure and go, right, TV show, that'll do.
Yeah, we must compete.
Yeah, it's one of those strange choices that they went, okay, well, we're going for that.
So, next up, actually, same story, but next show that he's got in the works is a spec script called The Brides, which is a reimagining of The Brides of Dracula, about to hit the premium streaming marketplace. Jeez, okay. About the hit streaming market. About to hit.
Look, I know you like saying the hit stuff, but come on.
So that's not HBO Max. That's going out to be shopped to different networks and services. So it could end up at HBO Max, but the first one is HBO Max. The second one is just going out there into the ether, and that's interesting. Brides of Dracula. I mean, I don't know if there's anything before this, but I certainly know the Hammer horror film by that name.
Yeah.
So this would be about all the ladies that Dracula sired, basically. But without him, he's kind of gone. And
yeah.
I mean, maybe he'll be a character. He could be. I mean, they might want to do that. I mean, it's Dracula's public domain. They can do it. They can have him if what they want. Yeah. But I feel like maybe what they're going to be doing with this is maybe it'll be like Batman and Batwoman, where he's like referenced but not ever really seen, kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe.
I can see that.
Again, for one episode.
If these are more towards Sabrina than Riverdale, then I could enjoy these.
Yeah.
But they could also equally go towards Riverdale and I'll be less interested. So, I mean...
The HBO Max one, sure. Not that we know what to expect from them yet, but there's just an assumption of quality, right, at this point?
Yeah.
The other one, see where it ends up.
Oh, there's a bigger descriptions down here. Oh,
okay.
Here's a bit more info. The Shelley Society is described as a Victorian X-Files. All right. That's interesting.
Sure.
Young author Mary Shelley leads a band of romantic outlaws, among them her lovers Percy and Lord Byron. Against all manner of supernatural threats and monsters, including Frankenstein, author Shelley's own iconic creature. Okay. It's interesting to say our two lovers. Like, I mean, is that a love triangle, or is this just like no, they're quite loosey goosey about it, so that's why they're introduced as just her two lovers, like the two of them.
I have no idea.
And then The Brides is a sexy contemporary reimagining of the Dracula saga as a family drama with a trio of powerful, diverse female leads. With strong horror elements, The Brides is a vampire soap. That word's a bit more concerning. Sign me up for the Shelley Society. Victorian X-Files sounds like fun. This
Honestly,
one, not so much.
this one from the start, sexy reimagining. I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about a more empowered, more immortal woman and the things they do to maintain wealth, prestige, legacy, and their non-traditional family. That's personal and professional. Wealth and prestige, and then their non-traditional family. I think wealth and prestige can count as professional.
All right.
I think that's close enough.
I've died one of these in like a week and a half.
Yeah, but you were having booze.
Lots of it.
Aye, just not whiskey.
No, because I'm not getting into it. The whiskey is not whiskey. It's one of those. Okay, so it's an all-inclusive hotel, and it's okay. You get local drinks are included, so it's just okay. Here are all the basic spirits that they have at hand. So
the booze is included in all-inclusive. That's
depending on where you go and what package you get. In mine, it was so obviously you're a lot. So it's, you got your vodka, your rum, all your basic spirits, your tequilas, and there's one that's it just says okay, local drink whiskey. Now depending on where you go, you might just get a cheap, shitty whiskey, which is what I've had in the past. So if you get to a nicer hotel, they might have just respectable enough that you could drink it. No, this one is not. It was what I believe was malt flavored vodka. So not whiskey at all. They were just okay. We're just going to flavor the vodka malt, which is obviously what whiskey is made from. Terrible, absolutely terrible. I stuck to rum all week and had lots of it.
That was thrilling. Was it Portugal you went to?
Turkey.
It was Turkey. Oh damn it! Well, people were asking me. I think it's Portugal, but I'm not sure.
Well, now they know.
Someone. No one. Yeah, it must have been last week in comics. We brought up and like neither me or Matt knew exactly where you went, and we're like, well, I can tell we pay attention.
To be honest, I'm not sure I really said it much.
Like I don't know, somewhere in Europe.
Technically, I was in Asia.
Oh, technically you were in Asia. There you go.
Oh, here's the fact I learned: only 2% of Turkey is in Europe, and then the rest of it's all Asia. I was like, guess I'm in Asia. I didn't know.
There you go. Anyway, next up, a biographical series about President Richard Nixon is in the works for television. Lightbridge Entertainment has teamed with Oscar-winning writer Ron Bass, who worked on Rain Man, to adapt Evan Thomas' New York Times best-selling biography, Being Nixon, A Man Divided, a 6-hour narrative limited series. Bass will pen the adaptation and serve as executive producer. I think that'll do. I don't need to describe who Nixon is.
If you don't know, maybe go somewhere else on the internet instead of just here.
Yeah, just imagine the big nose, and you've got the idea.
Sure, that'll do.
Next up, HBO's put in development The Most Fun We Ever Had, which is a drama series project based on Claire Lombardo's New York Times bestselling novel. It's been produced by Amy Adams and Stacey O'Neill's Bond Group Entertainment and Laura Dern and Jamie Lemon's Jaywalker Pictures. I love the idea of someone named Jamie calling their company Jaywalker. That's actually, I don't know where Laura Dern's name. I don't know where that comes out of the name, but
I don't know. She was just like, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah. So yes, they're doing this for HBO. It doesn't say a limited series, but given that it's based on a book, I imagine it's at least starting as a limited series. Maybe they'll do the Big Little Lies thing.
Yeah. It's possible.
Yeah. So
what is it?
Let's see, a multi-generational saga spanning half a century. The most fun we ever had follows four sisters, each struggling to exist in the shadow of their parents' idyllic marriage, whose lives are complicated by the unexpected return of the son one of them gave up for adoption 15 years earlier. So this is your straight drama on HBO, I think. And given that it's spanning such a large time period, I feel like it has to be a limited series.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
Unless they keep revisiting the different time periods again in the second season, and they do some sort of, This Is Us sort of style thing.
Yeah, I was going to question if it was actually like jumping between them, but it did say spanning.
Spanning, yes.
Yeah. Because I was thinking, is it just okay? There's all the family members are around, but no, it doesn't sound like it. It does sound more like it's jumping between them.
Yeah. So obviously these the two actresses that I mentioned are just producing the show. There's no account of them actually starring in it as of yet. So
yeah. They might, but they might not.
They might not. Depends if they feel like it, I suppose. Next up, Netflix are back at it. They're adapting Katie Capiello's play Slut. Yes, that's the title of it, Slut. I wonder if they'll retitle it.
I really hope they don't.
For the show. Wouldn't surprise me. But they'll develop it into a 10-part drama, executive produced by Gone Girl producer Joshua Donen and House of Cards Bo Williams. So we got Odessa Azion. A''Zion. How would you pronounce that?
Zion?
Zion? Yeah. Amalia Yu, Malik Johnson, Amir Bagheera, and Audley Jean are all set to star. So you got a cast there as well. The series, which will be they have changed the name, which will be known as Grand Army.
I'm very disappointed.
Grand Army. That's funny. Do you know what it sounds like? Actually, it sounds like you're saying, like grandfather, like Grand Army. It sounds like you're saying like the previous generation of army. I don't know. That's what it sounds like in my head. It's based on the 2013 play, which follows the journey of a 16-year-old Joey Del Marco, who is sexually assaulted by 3 lifelong friends during a Friday night out. Inspired by the experiences of New York City teens, it tells a story through Joey and her friends and community. The play was called Truthful, Raw, and Immediate by Gloria Steinem. I'm assuming that's some big play critic whose opinion matters. So clearly the title was very much not ironic, but clearly people defending the suspects, I presume, shamed her, and that's where the title comes from. I get why Netflix don't want to market it as Slut, though. I mean, imagine putting that in a billboard. And
I get it, but I feel like it would have been a much stronger choice to go, nah, screw it, we're owning it and doing it as it's supposed to be. This already feels like they're tiptoeing around it, and it makes me wonder if it makes me doubt the quality of the show to some extent. It makes me assume, even though everything we've seen on Netflix tells me they won't, it makes me assume they're going to pull punches on it for whatever reason. Because
but I mean, what if the people who are making it are not pulling punches? It's just Netflix head office said, look, you can do whatever you want, you just can't call it Slut.
I actually think that's the most likely scenario. Yeah. As I'm saying, like everything I've seen from Netflix in the past, they're quite happy to push some boundaries. That's why I'm saying it just, even though I know that, it makes me feel like they're afraid to do it, even though I'm sure it won't be.
All right, second with Netflix, they have ordered a Korean original. It's a romantic comedy series called Crash Landing on You. It's going to star popular local actors Hyun Bin, who was in Memories of the Alhambra, and Sun Yi Jin, who was in Something in the Rain. It's going to air later this year, which means it's getting pretty... we're already in late October here. The series described by digital platform is as if Dorothy met the Wizard of Oz by accident.
Okay.
But there's more. That's not the only thing. Crash Landing on You is a love story of an oddly matched couple coming from very different backgrounds. Yoon Si-ri, played by Sun Yi-jin, is a beautiful heiress and I said heiress. You know what I mean?
I know. I was trying not to laugh.
I caught myself, all right? And a leading fashion businesswoman in South Korea who meets a North Korean military officer, Lee Jung-haek, played by Hyun Bin, and she is swept up by a windstorm and accidentally crashes in North Korean territory while paragliding. That doesn't sound like Oz. That sounds like hell. I've landed in North Korea. Shit.
I mean, that's kind of Wizard of Oz.
Um,
This sounds like Wizard of Oz meets Romeo and Juliet.
There's actually like a huge big paragraph describing even more of this. I think I'm just going to leave it there. But
yeah.
Yeah. So, I imagine it'll be quirky. I feel like Korean stuff tends to get away with being quite quirky, especially romantic stuff.
At least by our standards.
By our standards, sure. So that seems to be a thing. Next up, Mackenzie Davis and Himesh Patel. That was a guy who was in Yesterday, that Beatles movie that came out recently. Mackenzie Davis, of course, you'll know from San Junipero, the new Terminator movie, Blade Runner 2049. They're going to be the main leads in a new show from HBO Max. It's called Station 11, 10-episode post-apocalyptic limited drama. So it's a 10-episode one and done based on the international bestseller by Emily St. John Mandel from Maniac creator Patrick Somerville. Oh,
okay.
I actually think this may have come up at some point. The Maniac creator part is sounding familiar, but written and executive produced by Somerville, Station 11 is a post-apocalyptic saga spanning multiple timelines. It tells the stories of survivors of a devastating flu as they attempt to rebuild and reimagine the world anew while holding on to the best of what's been lost. I definitely like Mackenzie Davis, and I like Maniac quite a bit.
Yeah.
For all its faults...
It's a decent premise.
Yeah, because Maniac, for all its faults, I thought it nailed like so much of what it was doing. Like there was definitely dips throughout. It wasn't like perfectly consistent, but when it hit high, it really hit high. So yeah, obviously we're interested in sci-fi shows, and no reason why not this one. Tara might have came in and stolen all the sci-fi movies, but you're still first in line for most of the sci-fi shows. So
most.
Next up, CW. They've got a long gestating post-apocalyptic prequel to the 100 in the works, but they've officially, well, not officially, but they're getting close. They've given it a backdoor pilot production order. It's just bizarre as that sounds. So, written by Jason Rothenberg, potential prequel has been developed as a planted spin-off and will be introduced in an episode from the upcoming 7th and final season of the 100. So, it's weird to actually announce it's getting a backdoor pilot order. I've never heard that phrase before. I've heard of backdoor pilots. I've never heard of...
Yeah, but like, it being ordered, it's more just a request, a request with that you can't refuse, right? Hey. Yeah. We want you to do a backdoor pilot as one of these episodes. Is that all right?
Yeah, well, it depends. Maybe the creator wanted to do it. Maybe he's gunning for it.
I mean, quite possibly. But generally speaking, it's more just, you're going to do this.
The Untitled 100 prequel set 97 years before the events of the original series. It starts with the end of the world, a nuclear apocalypse that wipes out most of the human population on Earth, and follows a band of survivors on the ground as they learn to cope in the dangerous world with fighting to create a new and better society from the ashes of what came before. So the main series then, presumably being 97 years later, the society is used to be in a post-apocalyptic world. Everything's already kind of set up. Whatever society they've built again is functioning. This is going to be them struggling to start... in the aftermath.
I don't think either of us have ever watched the 100, so we know very little about.
No, I have heard some people say it's not bad though. For what
I have as well, but by the time I heard that, it was like, well, it's 3 seasons in now, and I ain't got time.
Yeah. But it's good to hear that there are people like it, and maybe getting a sequel or a prequel even. So next up, Clueless. Of course, was a movie and a TV show in the 90s, maybe into the early 2000s. But I don't know how long the show lasted. The show started in 1996, so if it went over 4 seasons, then
I have no idea if it did or not.
I feel like maybe it did. I don't know how successful it was, but apparently they're shopping a new reboot of it, which will not focus on the character. I mean, the main character will probably be there, but it's going to focus on Dion, who was played by Stacey Dash in the original series and movie. Because she was in both, whereas Alicia Silverstone was only in the movie.
Had better things to do.
Well, she thought she did, and then she was in Batman and Robin, and her career just went...
Pretty much. Yeah.
So, Yes, apparently multiple streamers and the CW are all in the bidding right now. They're all interested.
I can see this on CW.
You can, yeah. Written by Jordan Redout and Gus Hickey. The new Clueless, Mean Girls meets Riverdale.
It's kind of what Clueless always was.
Kind of, yeah. If anything, those two have more to thank Clueless for than anything else. Well, actually, there's one more. Mean Girls meets Riverdale meets a Lizzo music video. I don't know who Lizzo is.
How do I?
Who's Lizzo? L-double-Z-O. L-I-double-Z-O. Who's Lizzo?
Lizzo. I have no idea. It's some songs I've never heard of.
Okay, no, right. Also set in high school. Well, I mean, Riverdale and Mean Girls were both set in high school.
I'm sure, yeah, I don't know. Like, what was already covered?
That's weird. Anyway, it is described as a baby pink and bisexual blue-tinted tiny sunglasses wearing oat milk latte and, I hate this description, an Adderall-fueled look at what happens when the high school queen bee, Cher, disappears and her lifelong number 2, Dion, steps into Cher's vacant Air Jordans. Oh my, I hate this description so much. How does Dion deal with the pressures of being the new most popular girl in school and also unraveling the mystery of what happened to her best friend? All in setting that is uniquely 2020 LA. I was going to say it's set in the future, and then I realised, no, by the time it airs, it'll actually be 2020. I'm not used to it being the 2020s, alright? This is weird.
Yeah.
2020 sounds so futuristic to me, which makes me feel old. All the kids don't...
It does, because we got used to the teens pretty quickly.
I think it's not only that, but I think it's because so many movies set in the future from like the 90s and stuff, and like even the 80s and the early 2000s, but all 2020 something was the future, you know?
Yeah, that was the minimum, wasn't it?
Yeah. God,
I mean, I know it wasn't actually, but like, there were examples that were earlier than that, of course, but that felt like, no, that's a nice round one to go up to.
Yeah. So next up, CW is developing Good Christian Bitches. I hope they keep that title.
I'm in.
An hour-long series based on Kim Gatlin's book of the same name. It comes from glamorous writer Jordan Nardino, Darren Star, and Aaron Kaplan's Capital Entertainment. I feel like one day I'm going to be in a trivia game, and someone's going to say name Aaron Kaplan's production company, and I'm going to be like, yeah, it's Capital Entertainment, baby. I know this because it comes up all the time in the goddamn news. And everyone else is going to be like, how do you know that? I'm like, I just do, baby.
Yeah, we know some stupidly pointless information, don't we?
This is a brand new take on the concept. As if we've seen.
Yeah. What is the concept?
Shifting the action to high school. So I presume the book wasn't in high school. Written by Nardino, is described as.
Oh God!
It's described as
meets Riverdale.
It's described as Clueless, set in a Christian high school in Tone. At a prestigious private Christian high school in Dallas, a war-stoking student body's social divides erupts with a new girl on campus. The atheist daughter of a minister inadvertently tangles with 3 popular girls who blame her for ruining their lives.
Oh.
Interesting. This is CW's backup plan if they don't get the Clueless. They'll do this instead.
Yeah. It's like, well, we're doing one of them.
Yeah. Hell, it's a CW. They could probably do both, and probably do quite well. They'll put them on back to back
on the same night.
Yeah. That'll be the teen girl drama night or whatever.
Like they have a whole night spare for that.
They'll start airing stuff on Saturdays, 7 nights a week.
They're gonna have to at this rate.
Oh dear. I don't think it's for us. I do like the title though.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think with the right amount of satire, like if this was a movie, I could get really into like the one atheist girl at this Christian school. I could probably get into that. But as a TV show in the CW, I mean, it's going to be,
it's going to be trash.
Yeah. Next up, NBC is given a script commitment with penalty to Mavenhood, which was a competitive, multiple networks try to get bid for it. It's a workplace drama from NCIS Los Angeles co-executive producer Jordana Lewis Jaffe with Elizabeth Banks and Max Handelman's Brownstone Productions as well. Written by Jaffe, in Mavenhood, when a mysterious person threatens to reveal the dark private secrets of a group of social media entrepreneurs. So we've got esports and social media entrepreneurs now. Like, we've really reached peak millennial...
I hate 2020 already.
We've reached peak millennial, subjects for TV shows this season. It
2020 is going to be shite.
It could shatter the facade of perfection that is the very core of their enviable feeds. Enviable feeds. And their business model, and ruin the lives of those they love. However, it also bonds the women together and forces them to become true friends to one another.
I think, we're officially at the point now where TV shows aren't marketing us anymore. They're just like, no, you're too old for this shit now.
That was personal and professional lives.
Was it?
Yeah, they talk about their feeds, which is their business model, and ruin the lives of those they love. However, it also bonds the women together and forces them to become true friends to one another.
I'm not sure I'm willing to accept social media
if that's professional. If that's how they're making their money, I mean,
yeah, but
they're influencers.
Yeah. I'm not willing to drink to that. I'm not acknowledging.
That's fine. NBC again has put a pilot commitment to thriller drama The Mother-in-Law is the title of this, based on Sally Hepworth's novel from the Path creator Jessica Goldberg, Amy Poehler and her Paper Kite production company. I may struggle with that one. I don't think Paper Kite with Amy Poehler's ingrained in my head yet.
No.
I mean, when I read it, it sounded like I was, oh yeah, I remember hearing that now, but it's not ingrained to get it in a question form.
No.
So, written by Goldberg, the mother-in-law. I did it again. The mother-in-law is an unexpected thriller centered around a woman's complicated relationship with her husband's family that ends in a death. A gripping mystery that explores motherhood, class, race, and how dangerous family secrets can be. And that's all personal, no professional there.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Unless it was a hitman, in which case the murder was professional.
I mean, yeah, maybe, but we don't know that yet.
Next up, is this still NBC? It's still NBC. NBC's got a lot in these last couple of weeks. Former Grimm executive producers Sean Hayes and Todd Milliner of Hazy Mills. I get that one. You see, you get Hayes and Milliner, yeah. Hazy Mills. There you go.
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, makes sense.
So they have set up a new drama project at NBC, penned by husband and wife duo of Griffith and Keller. That's Mary Page Keller and Thomas Ian Griffith. The Translator's Daughter is the name of the show in the book, is a thriller about an American college student who, while interning for the CIA, finds herself torn among the loyalty to her country, the female crime boss protecting her, and the young New York detective with whom she's fallen in love.
This sounds so cliche.
Yeah, not for me. Alright, Fox then. Fox is
just so exciting.
Given a script commitment plus penalty to a US adaptation of the Argentinian mob drama The Cleaning Lady from the 100 writer Miranda Kwok. One, I like that name actually. Kwok. Kwok. Kwok.
I was going to question if you were maybe saying it wrong, but I don't think you are.
No, I would love to like own someone at a video game and stand up and say you just got quacked and just walk off.
That would be pretty good. You should say it anyway.
So, written by Kwok, who is currently supervising producer on the CW's sci-fi drama 100, the series follows the young Filipina doctor who comes to the US for a medical treatment to save her son. But when the system fails and pushes her into hiding, she uses her cunning and intelligence to fight back. After hitting rock bottom, she crosses into a world of moral grey, cleaning crime scenes for the Russian mob, and eventually forges her own path to power, becoming an unexpected yet formidable player in the criminal underground. Sounds a little Breaking Bad-ish in a way. I mean, obviously it's Fox, so it's going to be nowhere near as good.
Yeah, but less by choice at first. It seems she's really forced into the situation.
But it sounds like once she's in there, the fact that she's going to take power and rise up.
She starts off as their Mike.
Sure.
and then becomes, I don't know, pick whoever you want by the end.
Yeah.
Choose whichever boss figure you want.
Fox has given a script commitment with penalty to The Service, a 1-hour drama from writer Drew Lindo, who worked on the 100 and ran a lot of 100 people showing up.
You can tell that show's finishing.
I know, because they're all getting new jobs with all shows. Blind Spot creator Martin Giro and Warner Bros. TV. So The Service, written by Lindo, 10 years after her best friend Josh vanished, journalist Maya Ford is shocked to see him re-emerge in New York as an operative for The Service, a secret organization that creates elaborate public depictions to change the lives of its clients. As she follows the man she once knew into the Service's web, she'll discover that its unseen influence has the power to change the world.
Uh-huh.
Sounds like a snooze fest to me.
Yeah, I'm good.
I am perfectly good. Fox has given a script commitment with penalty to The Two Dolls, a 1-hour drama from writer Katie Wetch from Beverly Hills 90210 and McGee's Wonderland Sound and Vision. Written by Wetch, The Two Dolls revolves around the two dolls
No shit.
Who dominate the cutthroat world of high-end Malibu real estate. I got really bored really fast. But when they bend the rules, they find themselves in the gauntlet of suspicion and subterfuge when that threatens everything they've built, including their friendship. I don't. Could you have made that sound any less dull?
That was terrible.
Yeah. Final story of the week. Swooping in with this one story at the end. CBS is here.
Those bastards.
CBS has put in development a show called Bent.
It's a good start.
Now you can tell that in the US the phrase bent does not quite have the connotations that it does in the UK.
It clearly does not.
In fact, to the point where they're probably going to have to, if they air this in the UK, if it gets picked up and put to series, they're probably going to have to change the title. Because if you don't know this, bent in the UK is an insulting way of calling someone gay. It's not as harsh as some other insults to say the same thing, but it is.
It's a very PG-13 insult.
Yeah, it's a very PG-13 insult for gay, particularly for men, I'd say, rather than women. But
yeah, definitely.
So
I remember it was a whole big, on Futurama at Bender. There was a whole thing in every school playground, basically.
Yes, I think bent sounds harsher than Bender, though.
It was typically your bent or a bender.
Yes.
But I agree, one sounds worse.
Yes. But anyway, so yes, it's coming from a crime drama. It's a crime drama coming from writer Vaughn Wilmot, who worked on Star Trek Discovery and Prison Break. Jerry Bruckheimer TV's behind the whole thing as well. So you know what sort of quality we're getting with this. Bent revolves around an indistinctive and streetwise Texas law enforcement officer who is caught between two parental figures. Her mother and father? Is that a two?
A good guess.
Her biological father, who co-opted her into his 10-state crime spree as a child, and her adopted father, who caught them and took her in as his own. So, alright, so I get it, right? So
the cop who caught her dad adopted her.
Yeah, so that she'd have a future. Okay. Okay. It's a very contrived TV premise, but yeah.
But I mean, it is CBS.
Hey, I'm actually shocked at that we only had one professional and personal live.
Yeah.
I'm shocked at that.
Light week. Yeah, so as far as stuff that happened this week, obviously the Watchmen pilot, which was not called the pilot, but same difference. The review of that went up. You can go check that out. Mr. Robot, I reviewed that on my own this week because Connor was on vacation. He'll be back for the next one though, which we will hopefully have up late Monday night. So that's the plan.
That's the plan. So you can look forward to that. The big thing coming this week, though, of course, is the Apple TV shows, which are launching on Friday. There's like 4 of them launching on Friday. I think most of them are launching with 3 episodes on day one.
As far as I know, yeah.
So,
which ones have we got? We got
For All Mankind, The Morning Show, C, and I think there's one other one that's escaping my mind.
Dickinson,
there you go. And I think For All Mankind's definitely the priority to get the first one out.
It's the one we actually want to watch the most.
Yes.
Are we thinking we'll do like one of each and then come back to it, or do we just want to get the 3 of the one that we care about done?
It's probably worth getting some of the other episode 1. I don't know if it's worth doing all 4 of them. It's probably worth, like, I feel like Friday's schedule for us is going to be trying to squeeze in as many episode 1s as we can.
Yeah.
Probably 2, maybe 3, if we can swing it. See how it goes. But I think that's the plan for Friday, and just file them out as quickly as possible, and then from there, kind of decide what we're doing. Taking probably For All Mankind forward over the weekend. And it's worth mentioning as well, if you were enjoying our Raising Dion reviews, they are still going on. Episode 5 of that went up on the audio feed. They're just not on YouTube anymore, so if you're interested in that, check out the Netflix, almost cancelled Netflix reviews audio feed for continuing coverage of those. And don't worry, we've not forgotten about 3%. We are actively talking about that now. Connor's back from vacation. About getting episode 2 done. That will be audio only as well on the audio feed, so look for that sometime soon. And yes, there's other things as well which have been delayed that I was doing on my own because of Octoberthon. I have had zero time for those things. I thought I'd have time this past week with Connor on vacation. It turns out I had no spare time compared to normal. No spare time. Between doing a live stream with Tim, having extra countdown stuff to record, and extra Octoberthon stuff to record, I basically had no free time. What little free time I had, I spent it on video games. I'm sorry, but I have to have some downtime. There has to be some time when I'm not on the clock.
If you say so.
Shut up. So you can look for other stuff coming back soon. It's been a very busy time, very busy October. Once we hit Halloween, the Octoberthon stuff is officially done, and my schedule lightens back up again. And
then you get hit by tons of Apple shows instead.
Yes, exactly. That's literally the day after Halloween, the pricks. So you can expect that then. Obviously, because it's been kind of as similar as well with like Star Trek's been kind of more every other week for the past month as opposed to every week. Twilight Zone's been kind of the same thing. Again, it's just because things have been so busy. Those should be back into full swing soon, as should Firefly, and we'll get that rounded out. In fact, this time next week, we should be able to announce what our Patreon exclusive already cancelled is going to be, which has been voted for right now by patrons. In fact, by the time this goes up, you'll have a few days left if you're a $5 up patron to cast your vote. Not only in that, but all the movie votes as well for the month. So
I assume they have till the end of the month.
Yeah, the end of Halloween. That's your deadline. So. Simple enough to remember. So yeah, go to Patreon. We mentioned that earlier, and see what's up for grabs. You can also support us by rating the podcast on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast from. You can rate us 5 stars. That helps us out a lot. It's because they recommend us out more. They pimp us out a little bit, and we'll find more audience that way. So you can do that to help. Follow us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. And as we said, check out all the other reviews we've done this week. Screams After Midnight has been going strong during the Octoberthon horror movie podcast with me and Tim. If you like horror movies or you've got a casual interest, you might enjoy us rambling on about that. Similar with the Atomic Cinema Experiment, the sci-fi movie podcast I did with Tara. Same idea, but with sci-fi movies. So, although that's not been one a day for the last month, because if both of those were going one a day for a month, that would kill me.
I want to see you try.
Piss off.
I'll take a month off if I have to, but I want to see you try.
You just had a week off. You don't get to have time off. You're back to work like a mule. All right.
Yeah.
A ginger mule.
I am in catch-up mode. I have 2 weeks worth of comics to read. I've got all the TV that I've missed to catch up on, plus obviously the new episodes before we get to those. So.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna be busy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've actually got to go to actual work as well. Ugh.
So that's the plan. So hopefully you enjoyed this news. Obviously it was a bit later in the weekend because Car just got back. I mean, you got back on Friday, but obviously you were.
I got back at. I got into my house at 4 a.m. Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So this is the first time we record since he's been away. So yeah, I did solo Mr. Robot this week. I did solo television from the multiverse. I did solo. So yeah, that's worth mentioning. If you weren't aware, that's back. We are reviewing the DC shows, most of them at least, on a weekly basis, and that'll keep going at least while they're on the CW. While the CW season's on.
Yeah.
So check that out too. But that is it. And I don't know if you've not watched everything yet, but I will say that Flash, Batwoman, and Supergirl probably all had their best episodes of the season. Now, admittedly, the bar's not high, and they're definitely still full of problems. But I would say all three inched up the way.
I watched Flash. Well, maybe even more drunk than usual because the drinks were free. I got problems. I got problems with that one.
I'm sure you do. I'm not saying I don't have problems. I'm just saying it was less tedious than the first two. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I don't know. Just wait till you watch Batwoman. One Tommy Elliott's in
Okay.
in Batwoman.
Arrow continues to be greatest hits, yet now we're doing the shit bits already. That didn't take long.
It was still
right?
better. It was still better than most episodes from the past 4 seasons, though.
Yeah, because this was quote unquote greatest hits from I think season 4's flashbacks.
Season 3. Season 3 was the Hong Kong season.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. No, but I still think it's better than most of the recent seasons because there's a direction and like the pacing's much better. They're not dragging things out. It's got a thing to do. It does it by the end of the episode and it moves on. And
it is definitively better.
Yes, it is. It's easier to
really
watch.
Want to be reminded of Hong Kong.
The point being is that when I was picking my best of the week at the end of the podcast this week, I was basically picking between that and Batwoman, and
that's kind of sad.
Nothing was shining, but I mean Batwoman did have its best episode yet, and Arrow.
Supergirl not particularly great then this week. If those two are overshadowing it,
had its moments, but it had some frustrating. But as a random guest star on Supergirl, Sean Astin was in the episode out of nowhere. It was like, whoa, Sean Astin's here. What's happening?
Okay. Why not?
Oh, but yes, hopefully, if we keep trending upwards inch by inch, then we'll be in some gold.
Maybe by Crisis it'll be watchable.
By Crisis, the shows will be watchable. No, Batwoman showed some potential this week. There was still, don't get me wrong, some of the problems were still there. They were,
okay.
But she felt a bit more Batwoman-y by the end. There was actually a villain. Alice doesn't seem as annoying. There was even some comedy about the the love triangle. I don't like the love triangle still, but there was a bit of comedy related to it that kind of made me laugh. So
okay.
Mary's growing on me, I guess is what I'm saying. Mary's slightly funny.
Who's Mary?
The stepsister.
Okay.
Yeah. Who, after a bit of research, I discovered is actually, in the comics, is actually her cousin and wants to be Flamebird. During the Rebirth run of Detective, she wanted to become Flamebird and join the team with Batman. And Kate said, no, go and finish school, and then maybe we'll talk after. That was the thing.
I don't remember that at all, but
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
So yeah, so she is actually from the comics, although they've changed their relation to her slightly. But so
I could be down for a Flamebird.
Yeah, give her a sidekick. Yeah, give her a Flamebird. Give her a Flamebird and maybe give her a Robin. Tim's not in Titans. Get Tim in.
I could always go for more Tim.
You could. But that is us. That has been the TV news this week. So thank you very much for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?